Welcome everybody to the premiere episode of DisruptED TV with the NJPSA here in Monroe Township, New Jersey. Today, Pat Wright, the Executive Director of NJPSA, and Donna McInerney from the FEA will sit down with three educators from the Westwood Regional School District.
Hi, my name is Tom Conroy. I'm an elementary school principal in Westwood, New Jersey.
Hi, I'm Christina Scuduro. I'm the Shared Assistant Elementary Principal for the Westwood Regional School District.
I'm Craig Mandaglio. I'm a third grade teacher in the state of New Jersey.
Very happy to be here today to talk about adult climate and culture.
I'm so excited to be here to take this opportunity.
I love being in this profession of education, and I really enjoy it a lot.
We will be discussing how teachers, principals, and administrators can use the PLC conversations of the Connected Action Roadmap to strengthen adult climate and build a culture of shared leadership.
Hello and welcome to DisruptED TV and to the New Jersey Principals and Supervisors Association in Monroe, New Jersey. The NJPSA represents school leaders from across the state, and we are committed to supporting our school leaders in providing an excellent education for all students in New Jersey. One of the ways that we do that at NJPSA is by providing our leaders with strong and effective professional learning. I'm Pat Wright, the Executive Director of NJPSA, and with me today is Donna McInerney. Donna McInerney is the CEO of FEA, the Foundation for Educational Administration. The foundation is our professional learning arm of NJPSA.
Thanks, Pat. Today we're here to focus on a very important topic, school climate for adults. I have with us the team from Brookside Elementary School in Westwood, New Jersey, who have been, for the past 3 years, participating in our pilots program for the Connected Action Roadmap. The Connected Action Roadmap is a framework for schools to implement the best practices.
An interesting fact before we start the conversation, I've had an opportunity to present workshops on school climate around the state. And one of the questions I've always asked participants is to talk about the impact of relationships on their school climate. And we talk about three sets of relationships: student to student, student to adult, and adult to adult. I've asked the question of many educators in New Jersey, which set of relationships have had the strongest positive impact on school climate, and which set have had the most negative impact on school climate in your school? Unfortunately, I can tell you that over 90% of people that I have asked that question to have relayed to me that the relationships between adults in a school building are having the most negative impact on their school climate. That's why this topic is so important. I think we should start the conversation by looking at some assumptions that schools often hold about school climate for adults. Because I know that those assumptions play out in a lot of schools. Can you talk to us today about how they've played out in your particular school and how the C.A.R process has kind of helped you move forward with those and challenge those assumptions?
For Brookside Elementary School, I think for us, the school climate assumptions that we were looking at and focusing on was actually the collegial environment for staff. I think it's different knowing that we have our teachers who are our colleagues and who are our associates, and the way that we respect them and how we treat them, as opposed to when it comes into the educational process and having the opportunity to be mutually respectful within our ways of our knowledge and our content areas and the way that we present our instruction. So that was one of the things that we looked at first by utilizing the C.A.R process and looking at those rubrics and how we can present ourselves in a way that we will provide in a PLC a mutual respectful environment in order to progress across the continuum instructionally and in our planning processes.
So basically, professional learning communities are at the heart of the C.A.R process, working together on curriculum, instruction, and assessment. I hear what you're saying is by actually giving people, professionals, the opportunity to work together on their work, that in itself helps to improve the relationships, is it?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that what's happened over the years is that in many districts, there's a top-down approach, and it is that this is what we have, this is the curriculum that you follow, this is the way that you implement it, and there's no ownership. So giving the teachers, and really it's our job administratively to provide them with the culture and with the climate and with the confidence to say that you're the professional. We value you, we want to hear what you have to say, and then inviting them into that process for them brings a completely different type of ownership into the building.
But I also think the process comes to a complete circle is getting the educators comfortable enough to really discuss. So, and I think the whole topic of today is really eliminating the elephant from the room and really being honest and taking up that ownership as a team. And, as a grade level team, as a school, recognizing that, your students are not your students, they're our students. And what we're doing to really model that and show that, but then supporting each other. No one is in this alone, and it's really recognizing the fact that, what are our goals for our students, and how can we attain them collaboratively, not competitively.
Yeah, a big shift occurs when we move from saying these are my students to these are our students.
Sure.
Because a lot of issues related to adult climate, people don't want to talk about, and it is an elephant in the room. And the conversation often happens out in the parking lot, but through shared leadership in these conversations, that can shift the way the conversation takes place.
And going off of you're saying competitively, we're all in the same goal. Well, our main goal is to have a successful year for all of our students. Not my students, not your students, our students as a grade level. And meeting with the C.A.R process and meeting to discuss a lot of the strategies we're trying to put in, it gives the opportunity for a teacher that sometimes, hey, this might not have worked. So if this didn't work, what did you do that helped you with your students? What did I do? What worked for you? And then we can all implement that and try that. And if something didn't work, we can tweak it, we can take it out. So it's kind of giving teachers more of the opportunity to say, all right, this is...
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Initiative say, hey, this didn't work, how could we do that? And it's actually, instead of doing it in front of everyone here, it's with your grade level teachers. So.
And just speaking from Brookside School, watching two colleagues that maybe personally didn't connect, but starting to unpack standards and realizing, wow, professionally, we're the same. We're equitable here because that's what I'm looking for to implement in my classroom. And now how can we unpack those standards and have them make sense to our students? So now you're having two professionals that maybe personally did not make a connection, and that's where the elephant came into the room. But now professionally, this dialogue is starting, and they're realizing that they're making connections on a professional level. So the C.A.R process for us at our building has really impacted our climate as professionals and seeing how teachers are having this dialogue just by merely unpacking standards.
It's taking steps. It's going to take steps to get there. But professionally, working together, it's been a big improvement over the 2 years I've been there. So,
Sometimes we've actually seen professional learning communities have a negative impact on school climate. And the main reason we've seen that is because the teams are meeting and maybe they have to fill out an agenda and they have to hand that in to show they had a meeting. But the work that they're working on may not be their work, which is developing and implementing curriculum, making adjustments in that curriculum, looking at data from their students currently at that time, having these really great conversations about their practice. We find in schools when they're doing that, that really makes them feel professional, like they have that ownership, as Tom was saying.
Well, and I think to piggyback off of what you said, and even continuing the conversation from before, what we've done is we've literally used the phrase, we need to rip the Band-Aid off. And it's okay if it's not working. It's okay if it's even a little dysfunctional right now, because we have to be able to change that. And I think it's the comfort level just has to be there, and for us, I think the word is trust. And that I have to trust that you're looking at me not in any type of negative light because I may or may not know something, but that we're going to use our collective professional knowledge in order to, as both Christina and Craig has stated, to really move forward in what's in the best interest of kids.
And to go off of that as well, when teachers are looking at it, you're not a failure if something didn't work. Right. And I think that's a lot of times where the teachers are like, oh, I don't want to look like I'm the teacher that failed, I can't get this done. Not everything's going to work. What works for Christina's classroom might not work for mine. What works for mine might not work for Tom as well. But admitting that something didn't work and bringing it to the forefront is what's going to help put different strategies that'll help your classroom do better. But just admitting it, saying, hey, this didn't work, and talking about it is the first step. Because it's hard for teachers to admit that. Oh, yeah. To say, hey, this didn't work. Because like I'm saying, you don't want to be known as, oh, I failed on it, oh, look at him, he failed. But it's not like that, because we're all in this on the same situation, the same page, to make the best process and have these kids be successful to the best that we can.
Yeah, so those concrete conversations of C.A.R. and this shared purpose of student learning seems to have had a very positive impact on the adult culture.
Sure, 100%.
But sometimes we've seen, Pat and I have seen in schools where adults are reluctant to address some of the adult problems head on. And you mentioned ripping off the Band-Aid, and that can be a big challenge.
You know, I think you have to bring yourself into the mix. And for me, I'm going into my 18th year as an administrator, and I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still trying to figure out how to be the best that I can be for the teachers and for the kids. I think that giving teachers an example, or using myself as an example, or Christina or Craig, you know, some of our other our teacher leaders, or anyone that's in any school, to show that you're human. Too many times in our positions, it's not okay to be human. We have to be machines. We have to be perfect. We have to be the ones who have all of the answers. And until I realized, and it took me a very long time to finally say, you know what, I don't know that, but I'm going to find out for you and let me get back to you, instead of trying to come up with an answer right away. And I think that once people see that you're willing to do that yourself and let your guard down a little bit, I think that those conversations happen naturally.
And then also, we've really have understood the fact of it's okay to agree to disagree. You know, we can get to that point, you know, when we're implementing any type of curriculum, you know, process or implementation. We're going to have different professional expectations for each other, for ourselves, and it's okay to disagree. So the funny thing that we've witnessed at Brookside School with the C.A.R. process is, you know, one of the teachers said, you know, we can go off on tangents just disagreeing with our negotiables. So let's put a time limit on it. We have 3 minutes to disagree back and forth, and we're getting over it.
That's great.
And we're moving on, and we're moving forward.
So you're getting to the type of culture that one of the assumptions points to, that addressing negative adult behavior will cause more problems. I think that's why adult climate has become the elephant in the room, because everybody tiptoes around it, afraid to bring it up, because then there might be explosions, or this person doesn't get along with the other person. But you're removing it from the personal relationships, right? And putting it into the professional relationships, because that's why we hire professionals, right? Not because they get along, but because they can work together for the good of every student in the building. So I think your work is probably emphasizing that point.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's written into their PLC norms that they established on their own. We did not, it was not a top-down. They're the ones that created their norms for each of their PLCs.
So that's funny too, because we sometimes see, you know, people in PLCs, yes, we have norms. We created them, but okay, now
Back
what?
in September.
Do you see people actually going back to those norms and saying, like you said, you're on your cell phone right now, and we're really we only have a certain amount of time to talk about student data. I mean, can they begin to start holding, I think your climate reaches a better place when people can begin to start holding each other accountable.
Right.
Yeah.
for
And not
those
look to the
norms.
principal
You
or the
know?
assistant principal to hold
Yeah.
teachers accountable.
And not taking it as a personal affront,
That-
because it's not
Correct.
about the
That's the
person.
other
Yeah,
thing too. 'Cause
that's it.
Don't take it personally, right? This is here professionally trying to help you to get things better for your classroom. And you make a great point too, Donna, that not going right back to the boss. Don't go back to the principal or the assistant principal. Handle that within yourselves.
Right.
That sometimes it may not be able to do that, then you know, but you want to, as a group, you want to handle that in your own situation and then move forward. And that's what's going to help the process as well as relationship with the adult climate.
And here's the beauty of it, the norms, as they're going through, become innate. So then
Yes.
they go and their norms start becoming natural.
Yep.
And they're following their norms subconsciously, not even realizing that, wow, this is a norm. So another goal of ours is to revisit them. This is live, it's ongoing.
Exactly.
You know, it gets revised, it changes.
'Cause the
It's a
needs of the
living
team.
thing. Yeah,
Change.
100%. So once they realize that their norms are being expressed innately, then they can go back and say, okay, our expectations or our norms need to raise the bar a bit. Let's raise the bar a bit and what we really expect of each other as a team and what we expect of our students and what our goals are.